Hi, folks. Those that saw the video know that I've been reviewing this magazine, the Sega Mania magazine, and we're joined by Mr. Tim Hugall himself, the editor of this. Hi, Tim. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, very, very well. Now, obviously, lot to talk about because this is quite a big labour of love, I would imagine, because obviously reading it come across to me how much passion you put into this. So just a generalisation, how did this come about and why did you do it?
It was one of those things that was almost a bit like a pub idea. You know, when you sat with some mates and you sort of think, oh, wouldn't it, you've had a few, and you're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we would do this and do that? And me and Sam in particular, me and Sam have known each other for 10 years, and we've always been thinking, oh, we should write a book, or we should do a blog, or we should do a YouTube channel. You know, and we've tried all of those things. But we really loved the idea of just doing something like something you could hold in your hand, something we could send to people, like they could hold it. And that's where the magazine came about. And we kind of stupidly thought, oh, this would be really easy because a magazine, just a few articles, a few pictures. We're very wrong, but it's been great fun so far. And yeah, we're really pleased with how it's turned out.
Yeah, so it's been a real learning curve, I would imagine, because I mean the quality of it's very, very good. And obviously it's issue 1, of course. Just for I posted some links when I did the review of the video, and there was quite a bit of interest. Just out of interest, how many sort of copies you got left? Would there be another print run? Just so people know.
So issue 1, we are down to under 50 copies left of issue 1. The sales have been crazy of that, and we're really pleased.
Yeah.
So there is still a chance to grab it now if you go to our website. Issue 2's gone on pre-order. Is available for pre-order, sorry. If anyone wants to get a copy of issue 1 who does miss out, we are looking into doing orders of back issues. So we'll put something online as soon as we know more about that.
Okay, cool. I've obviously pre-ordered issue 2. I have to say it was a lovely read, mate. It really, really was a nice touch.
Yeah.
And but obviously financing it and everything else which you've done a great job with it all. And obviously I'll be adding links to all of these videos and what have you. But obviously the passion there is for Sega. So have you always been a Sega fanboy?
Yeah, as a kid, it wasn't really a choice that I could make. It was a choice that my parents made. What I got for Christmas was what they chose, and they chose Sega. I started off with the Spectrum. As I got a bit older, they got me a Sega Master System.
Yeah.
And obviously once I was in the Master System ecosystem, I then wanted a Mega Drive, and I did want a Saturn, but PlayStation came along. But we'll not talk about that. And then obviously went back to Dreamcast. So yeah, Sega's just always been a favorite of mine. And I've really loved the Sonic the Hedgehog series and the comic books and everything around it. So yes, Sega's been my life.
Yeah. I mean, the Sega Master System itself was. I had the Mark One, you know, and I had the hang on, like the credit card, you know, the card.
Yeah.
I loved them cards, and it's a real shame that Sega didn't produce more of them, you know. But did you have the card system, or did you have the one with the one game built in? Hang on, built in.
No, I got the Master System too with built-in Alex the Kid.
Okay.
Yeah, and then my parents bought me Sonic the Hedgehog and Submarine Attack, which if you look in the magazine, I reviewed Submarine Attack, and that's all gone off the back of the memories of getting that game as a kid.
Yeah, brilliant system. So as you say, you had that, and then you, I actually purchased myself the Megadrive, and I also at the same, well, not at the same time, but when the SNES come out, obviously the Super Nintendo. I know we shouldn't be talking about Nintendo. I bought that as well upon release, and I have to say, both of them systems for me were like the ultimate sort of console war, because they were both superb systems. But my first memory of playing on the Sega Mega Drive was I put in, because it come packaged with Sonic the Hedgehog, and I remember putting it in, plugging the cartridge in, switching it on, because I hadn't seen gameplay or anything, and I was just blown away by how amazingly good it was. I just couldn't believe we had this great quality in our living rooms. What was your first memories of the Mega Drive?
It was Sonic the Hedgehog, but it wasn't. I didn't own it. There was a lad down the street from me who he was the kind of kid. He was a lovely guy, but he was the kind of kid who had everything. He had all the Turtles figures. Anything he wanted, he got.
Yeah.
My mum used to have me go there after school because she was working, and she'd come pick me up. And of course, being I don't know, it sounds horrible, the spoiled kid, he got a Mega Drive, and I'd only seen Sonic on the Master System. It's a great game, but it's fairly basic. And then, yeah, same thing. When you switch that on, I first saw that. For me, it was like cartoons, you can now play cartoons.
Yeah.
Of course, the speed and the graphics and the sound, and we know the rest. It's iconic.
Yeah, I think the biggest memory for me was what really blew me away was I was like, this is as close to arcade perfect, if not better, than the arcade machines at the time, and I just couldn't believe it. I was honestly, and ever since then, obviously, it just blew us all away, you know. But yep, so great memories there, and then obviously you moved on. You didn't get the Saturn as you said. Have you got a Saturn now though?
Yeah, I've got a Saturn now. I did get a Saturn in later life. That I got that from. Do you remember the pink papers and the yellow papers? The newspapers used to get for the buy and sell adverts. I got a Saturn for like 20 quid, like 5 years after it came out, and so I did sort of get to experience that roughly at the time it was kind of around. I got a Saturn now, yeah, but the PlayStation, it was everywhere. It was dominant, and I got swallowed up in that for a few years, which I don't regret. It's a great system.
I think we all did, and let's be honest. Well, it's lived on, in it. It's the one system that come out, and it's stayed the duration. And unfortunately, we all know what happened to Sega with the hardware front. Unfortunately, which is a real shame. Obviously, then did you do the Dreamcast?
Yeah, big into Dreamcast. At one point I had a complete PAL collection of games for Dreamcast, every single title, including some of the European ones that didn't make it to the UK. Some of those taxi game made in France, I've forgotten its name. I'm sure all of your viewers will be typing in the comments.
They'll be putting it in the comments, Tim.
Yeah, I got heavily into Dreamcast, and I still have my Dreamcast today as well.
Yeah. Oh, as you say, but Sega systems were all superb, and it was someone posted on one of the groups I went on the other day, actually, that, Sega, we want new hardware from you. I don't think we're going to be getting anything like that.
I don't think so either, no. I'd love to see it, but I just can't. I can't see how they position themselves in the market to break through. Never say never, though. You never know. If we find out, we will put it in the mag. You'll hear it from us first.
Of course. Now, getting back to the mag, obviously, as I said earlier, it's a real labour of love, and you touch back to the sort of sentimental times of the age and everything else, and you touch on about the original magazines of the day. I mean, what was your memories of them magazines? And obviously, did you go and purchase loads when you were younger?
I got few and far between. I didn't really get a great deal of pocket money, and we weren't the richest families. But when I did get them, they were mind blowing, because there was the internet existed, but not like we know. We didn't have a computer, and other than like TV shows like Games Master, the occasional TV ad, you had, or unless you borrowed a game from a friend, you had absolutely no idea what was coming next.
That's right.
You couldn't see screenshots other than what you saw on the back of the boxes. You had no idea what the games would be like. I used to read them over and over and over again. Even one issue would just go round and round, and I would focus on. I would almost like, your kid as a kid, your imagination runs away with you. I would almost try to imagine what the games were like to play in my head, based on what they were telling me. That's why we've kind of done Sega Mania, to try and just bring back a little bit of that magic. Almost pretend like the internet doesn't exist. Yeah. Pretend that Wikipedia doesn't exist, and start it all over again.
Well, I think that's actually a really good summary there, because as you read it, like I say, it does touch back to the time, and reading it, that's a brilliant summary, because it is like the internet never existed, but you are right, and I remember the one thing that I recall was you'd see the game adverts, wouldn't you, in magazines, yes. And they'd always show you the screenshots from the best system, wouldn't they, Yeah. And you'd end up buying it and be so disappointed on some game titles. I remember that.
I can't remember what I was listening to an American podcast that I like from IGN called Game Scoop, and they like to go through old magazines. And the last one I was listening to, they were saying that some of the screenshots were sometimes taken from the arcade games. And I wish I could remember which ones they were talking about, but sometimes the boxes back in those days, where trading standards weren't as strict, they would lie, and they would show pictures of the arcade version that you were never going to get when you plugged it in at home. But again, that's why the magazines were great. They were your Bible to what was good and what was bad. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, the one magazine I remember from my era really was Computer and Video Games, CMVG. I was a big fan of that magazine in particular, but I think my biggest memory was where my school was located, my secondary school. We'd finish school, me and my mates, and we'd always go down to the local John Menzies literally every night after school, and we'd just flick through them all. Yeah. It was a public library for us, and we never bought them. It was just a public library.
Yeah, I remember John Menzies. Wow, I've not heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, it's an oldie but a goldie, sir. Oldie goldie.
Goldie, yeah.
Yeah. But as you say, and what was also nice about the magazine as well, you touch on sort of the politics of the day. And let's be honest, politics is a boring subject, but the history of it and all that sort of thing, it was a lovely little recap. The year you did, I mean, it was obviously 1990, the first one, you know, and it was a good recap and all that sort of stuff. So you turned a boring subject into something positive, you know.
What we're trying to do is try to almost also bring back, basically show some of our young readers, and some of them who might be younger and never lived through those days, kind of give them a taste of what the culture was like at the time, because it influences a lot of the games that sort of came out. If you look at things like Desert Strike and Jungle Strike and stuff, they weren't just off-the-shelf military shooters. You know, it just come out of the back of the first Iraq War and stuff. So things like that were, you know, hot property. People like making stuff like that. So anything we can do to try and get our readers in that headspace before they get to the reviews is always great to do. And Simon did a really good job of writing those pieces up. I think we're going to lean into that a little bit more in the next issue.
That's brilliant. And also, what I liked about it, you touch on the music at the time, because let's be honest, music is timeless, isn't it? You know what I mean? So even today, you're still hearing that. And the biggest thing for me as well, the movies. You touched on the movies, and there's a review section of the films of the day. Because let's be honest, some of them films were so cheesy and hammy when you revisit them now. How did you ever think they were quality at the time? You know?
Yeah, and it's speaking of the movies, that's the one thing we've had mixed feedback on. Some people have actually come back to us and say, "Why have you put old movies in here? That doesn't make any sense." And again, it just goes back to that whole thing of just trying to get people in the headspace of the culture. And if we ever, you know, a lot of films got game tie-ins, which most of them are awful. Let's be fair, but you know, if we ever come across a year where a game and a film came out at the same time, we'll definitely link the two together. But the movie reviews are criticised a little bit because the first magazine is actually quite small, and so it took up quite a bit of space. But we are expanding the number of pages in the next issue, so we should get a bit of a better balance. And you know,
and I think you're right in what you say there, Tim. 'Cause let's be honest, you guys have never produced a magazine before. You've put this thing together, and as I say, it's quality. It's really, really good, and you're learning as you go. So the whole thing's going to evolve and adapt as you go. But getting back slightly to the tie-in with the films and stuff, as you say, the games at the time were pretty ropey, some of the licenses we had. But on my channel, I do like the versus videos from systems, and I mean, going back before sort of Master System and the rest of it, I do like Commodore versus Spectrum and what have you. But now I think this week's video's dropped in, and it's SNES versus Megadrive. Who wins? Wait and see. With that, as you say, the film licenses all tie-in, 'cause you had Rambo, you had RoboCop, you had like Cobra. So it was a big thing. So I think it is still relevant.
Yeah, I do. We do as well. And you know, Mike is a guest writer who does the movie reviews, and I contacted him to see whether he'd be up for doing some more, and he was like, "Absolutely, yeah, I'll be coming straight back in." So that's really great. So will be some more of them. I'm sorry, haters, but they're coming back.
At the end of the day, Tim, it's like everything. You can't please all the people all the time.
No.
But for me, I think it's a positive thing. So I'm not hating on that side of it. I think it's a good thing. All right. So stick at it, buddy. Stick at it. But what do our viewers think? What do my viewers think here? Let us know in the comments. Do you think it's a good thing? A bad thing? Referring back to the movies of the day. Hey, it's all media, isn't it? It all relates.
Yeah.
So, are you still a retro video game collector to this day yourself, Tim?
I am not. And I know a lot of your viewers will be like, what the hell, what he's writing about retro games, but he doesn't collect anymore. I have had so many collections over the years. I've done a lot of traveling and a lot of house moves, and they've always been, I've had to sell them or, you know, donate them because I haven't had the space to keep them. And I'd love to get back into it, but the prices of retro games now have gone through the roof, and you know, I can't keep up with that. I will admit I use a lot of these flash carts, you know, that let you play multiple games on one system. And if there's certain particular games that I really like, I will go out and specifically buy those ones, but I'm not chasing a collection. I'm not going for a complete collection. I'm sad to say that, but that's just the point in my life I'm at. Maybe when I get a little bit older and my daughter's a bit older and I've got a bit more time, I might go back to it again. So yeah.
I think you're right in what you're saying. You hit on some really good points there. I mean, as you say, they take up space, they take up time, but particularly, especially now, it's the money in it. I mean, they are, as we say, retro games at the moment are going for some stupid money at the moment. So what's the most valuable piece you had in your collection that you let go over the years, that you wish, looking back, you're like, I wish I'd have kept that?
I think it wasn't it was a couple of that. I used to have a Neo Geo AES.
Oh,
And I
nice.
had every single King of Fighters game from that, from '94 up until 2003 they stopped, I think it was, before they switched over to other consoles. I had the whole collection of that, and I really, really regret selling that, because though that will be worth a fortune right now. And also they're beautiful, the big boxes.
Yeah, yeah.
As far as Sega is concerned, I managed to get a hold of the first print of the indie game Pierce Solar that they released for the Megadrive. It was back in 2009, I think it was.
Okay.
You know, that was totally sealed, and it was a part of a limited run. And again, I let it go, and I shouldn't have done. So some quirky things there, and not 100% Sega, but yeah, those are the two that immediately spring to mind. Yeah.
As you say, Tim, I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, innit? If we all had that, mate, we'd all be multi-millionaires, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I still have my Bitcoin as well.
Yeah, of course, and we'd be buying Apple shares years ago, wouldn't we?
Absolutely.
Okay, so obviously getting back to Sega, obviously, because that's what the magazine's all about. So if you are a Sega fan, as you said in my review, seriously, get over there. I mean, there's website links and that there. These guys have put a lot of work into this. Do go pick it up or check it out, you know. Equally, I mean, people are saying, how can they get involved? I know you sort of asked it, or put a little print up in the last magazine about we want your input. So
yeah.
how can the viewers get involved?
Well, we're completely understanding that we couldn't exist without the community. And also, we don't really know what we're doing. You know, we've got an idea in our head of how we think the magazine should be, but we want it to be what the fans want it to be. At the end of the day, we need direction from people. So we've got a Discord channel, which there's a link on the website to that. You can email us. You can get us on Twitter, Facebook, all the usual social platforms. And we've got a rule whereby if you contact us, we will get back to you within a day. And if we don't, then we've failed, because we've got to keep communicating. If people actually want to get involved and help with the magazine, again, if you go on our website, we've got a section which tells you, you know, the kind of people we're looking for to help out. Unfortunately, it's not a paid position. We don't make any money on the magazine. We don't pay ourselves. So it is a passion project. And you know, if someone was to come on board, they would have to accept that they're doing this for fun. Yeah, if someone wants to join us, then by all means, just send us an email and we'll take it from there.
I mean, as I said to yourself, Tim, I'll probably send you some articles to do with my versus videos things, but
yeah, of course,
sometimes they're a bit controversial, mate, because Sega doesn't always win. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be hated on that magazine. So I'd hand pick the ones I think I'd send in for that. I don't know. What do people think? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we're very balanced gamers. You know, when we're not stuck on one side, we don't get involved in console wars and playground fights over which is the best. You know, we think that anybody who contributes to the video game industry from any company is just helping it grow and helping it make a better place. And just because we've chosen to focus on Sega is not because, you know, we hate everything else. We don't, you know, and we do very briefly touch on some of the competitors in our magazine. We call the section "Know Your Enemy," which, you know, is poking fun, you know, a little bit at the other side, but we probably will expand to include some other stuff because companies learn from each other, and it's interesting to see the interaction between the two of them. Definitely.
No, that's right, and I think you're right to do so. I mean, you can't talk about Sega without mentioning Nintendo, because let's be honest, at the peak, both of them were just so superb machines. You know, both had positives, both had negatives. Some had brilliant games, and versions on the others weren't so good, etc. So I think you're right. You can't ignore that. You've got to refer to it, haven't we?
No, and I think we would just annoy people if we were to do that. That wouldn't be fair of us. So yeah, we're all on board for content which crosses the generations, but we will probably take a little bit. Otherwise, I have to change the name of the magazine.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
everything Mania.
Also, with that, I mean, as you said there, you know, it's a labour of love, and it really is. And when you read it, it comes across like that. It doesn't come across like it's we're doing this to make it a huge thing so we can monetize it, and it doesn't read like that at all. So you're right in what you say. If people want to get involved, and I personally think you're going to get a lot of people come forward, Tim. So I think you're going to have to be a bit selective as well. So, well, yeah, great idea, but so that's probably your next problem, you know.
Yeah. I think so. I do. We already have had a few people get in touch, and I have had to get back to them and say, look, I'm not ignoring you. I just, you know, as soon as I get around to it, we'll have a conversation. We'll get started. So
Yeah.
So yeah, if any of your viewers do get in touch, then I'm not being rude. I just have a lot to deal with right now. It's crazy.
Well, I think, let's be honest, you're juggling so much. I mean, you've got a day job, yeah?
Yeah.
You've got a family.
Yeah.
You know, you've got everything that goes with that. And you decided, in your infinite wisdom, and very well done, buddy, thank you very much, to produce a magazine. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a huge task. It really is. And I don't think people ever truly understand until, I mean, let's be honest, looking back, when you were discussing it in a pub or whatever, you never realised the size of the task, did you?
No, and we had a quick catch up before the video, but I spoke to you about this, but I don't mind telling it to your viewers. There is a tiny part of me that regrets starting this because, you know, we just sort of sat down. Well, you know, we write a couple of articles, put our pictures in, a bit of layout, a bit of design a cover, send it to a printer. How hard can it be? But then, of course, you've got shipping, shipping and postage and problems with people's orders, taking payments. You've got to make sure that the website's secure. You've got to build a website. And then we've got people buying from America, Brazil, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, all over the world, and that comes to challenges. There's people who are asking for help in different languages. I don't want to go down this route, but we've also got the changes that Brexit have brought with getting things to Europe. We never thought about that. You just kind of don't think about it, and now we've got all the issues that come with customs and stuff. So yeah, it's so much, and I'm just kind of like, oh, what have I done?
Mate.
But as soon as, if you look on our social media, everyone's been so positive about it. I get emails all the time, people saying how much they enjoy it, and that makes it totally worth it.
And I think generally as well, with this sort of community, the retro gaming community, I always find that generally 99.9% of people out there are very understanding. Because as you say, I think you did like a cover letter that come with issue 1, just apologising for the lateness. And I personally didn't think it was that late. Was it? How late was it?
We put it up for sale on the 10th of July, and the first copies went out on the 28th. So it's 18 days. And I've worked in e-commerce for a long time, and I kind of thought, if someone's paid the money, and it's only £6-7 depending on where you bought it from. It's not a huge amount of money, but I thought, someone's put their faith in us. They've paid money on our website. Nobody knows who we are or what we're doing, other than as a magazine. And I just kind of thought, I think it's my responsibility to make sure that I keep in touch with these people and let them know that their money's safe, their magazine's coming, and if something happens, they can talk to us and say, I've got a problem, and we'll solve it. And that's key to everything we do. It's just openness. We'll never hide or try to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. We regularly put out statements saying this has gone wrong, so please bear with us. And everyone's been brilliant. Everyone's been really understanding. It's been excellent. And
to be honest, I think that come across with the, like I say, the covering letter on the magazine. To me, it's just like, I sort of read it, but I was half-heartedly reading it because I just wanted to get onto the magazine, and I was like, well, that's really nice of them. It's just genuine, and it's not just written as a statement to, better apologise. It don't come across that. It comes across as genuine, which is really, really nice. So
yeah, I mean, the other thing that I'm having, that I personally I'm struggling with at the moment is I don't feel like issue 1 is good enough. I'm kind of nervous. I was nervous about putting it out there. Don't get me wrong, Sam and Simon have done an excellent job of their writing. They're fantastic, and I couldn't ask for any more from them. But I had so many ideas of kind of what I wanted to do with the magazine and how it's going to look like, and just due to my limitations, didn't quite turn out right, and that kind of got to me a lot. And so we finally sent them out, and they went out on that first shipment. I just kind of felt needed just to I felt guilty for people had spent money on something I didn't think was good enough, and I would kind of just felt like I needed to write a letter just to say, look, thank you so much, but we can do better and we will do better, but just please just stick with us on this journey, and it's going to be great. And we've learned so much that we think we've got that confidence back now. But that's sort of where that came from. I doubt myself quite a lot, see. So.
I think it's though anything you do that's a bit creative, you're always going to sort of doubt it, you know what I mean? And I think that's just a normal process. I mean, if I look back at some of the very first videos I done on my YouTube channel, I look back and I think, oh, that was a bit... But you learn from it, don't you? And you move on, and it's about improvement. And I mean, I'm looking forward to issue 2, So coming back to the issues, obviously you've got 1991 next, and then 93, etc., etc., etc. So what are you going to do when you run out of the Sega years? Are you going to go back, revisit? What's the plan?
We did an interview with a some other people yesterday, and I'm going to say the same thing to you that I said to them. I'm not telling you. We do have a plan.
Yeah.
Well, we have a few plans. I did think of that from day one. I want this to go on for as long as possible, and I think 2001, 2002 is going to be where we stop following the timeline.
Yeah.
But we do have some ideas. But for the most important thing for us right now is just staying focused. And that's why we broke the magazine down into years, because it allows us to focus. If you were just to look at the whole history of Sega, you would kind of, where do we start? Do we take a bit from there or a bit from there? So doing it by year helps us focus. And if we were to tell people what we got planned afterwards, and people had opinions or problems with that, or they weren't quite sure, their feedback's really welcome, but we're just not ready for it right now. We just kind of need to stick to what we've got for the next 10, 11 issues, and then we will announce what we're going to do after that. It sounds like I'm kind of making it up as if there's not really anything planned at all, but there is. I just would rather not discuss it. That's all right.
And I think you're right not to as well. I think that's a very clever move because, as you say, you're still learning. Every single issue is a learning curve, and but by the time you've got 10 issues under your belt, you guys are going to be so much more confident and everything else.
Yeah.
And it's up to you where you take it. It's your publication. But it's great, it's brilliant, and keep at it. So we've got some questions from the viewers, Tim. So are you ready for these, buddy?
I am. I'll do my best.
Well, your best is always good enough for me, bud. Right, okay, so we've done what was your favourite Sega console. What is your favourite console? You can only have one Sega console. Which one would it be?
Megadrive. It's got to be.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I mean, did you have the Mega CD and the bolt-on bits and stuff?
I had the whole tower, and all the power bricks that came with it. Yeah, I had them. Yeah, as a kid, I had a Genesis. Oh God, what have I just said?
You've gone all North American on us.
No, it's because believe it or not, I was actually listening to Genesis today. The band, because I was like, nobody talks about Phil Collins anymore, and I did a bit of googling, and it turns out it's because everyone hates him, and I don't know why, but
I'm one of them.
But anyway, the Mega Drive. When I was a kid, I had a Mega Drive 2, but then as I got older, I preferred the Mega Drive 1 just because of the look of it.
It's a sexy looking console, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Someone put on Twitter yesterday, the Mega Drive's a timeless piece. Every single time I look at it, I still feel like I'm looking at the future.
Yep. So as you say, it's a timeless machine.
Go on.
Yeah.
And basically, even when I look at it now, it looks like the future to me.
Yeah. No, it's nice.
Yeah.
So, your favourite Sega game? I think I've got a bit of an idea here what I think you're going to say. And before you answer me, I'm going to jot it down. Right? We'll see if I'm right.
Okay.
Pretending to write a bit longer now, so you can't guess what I wrote. Go on, what is it?
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to have to say Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
I put Sonic. It's showing up. There you go, Sonic. I put
Sonic. So close enough. If you'd actually carried on writing Sonic 3 and Knuckles, the length of writing would have been perfect. Yeah. I've got this weird thing where every single time I come across something new that can play Mega Drive games, so a new flash cart or an emulator, I've got this thing of actually playing through that game from beginning to end, getting all the Chaos Emeralds, completing the save. I can't help it. I just love that. It's such the whole thing plugged together. The lock-on technology for a start is really cool. I love how they did that. But altogether, that's one hell of a Sonic game from beginning to end. I love it. Yeah, that's my favourite. I got lots of others, but I have to go with that.
Yeah. I mean, a Sonic holds special something to me because I met my wife and she weren't into video games, etc. And we got talking one day, obviously dating and the rest of it. And she actually said, "Oh, I got a Mega Drive." And I said, "Oh yeah, what you got?" And she had Super Ghouls and Ghosts, or Ghouls and Ghosts, I think. Super Ghouls and Ghosts was SNES. She had Ghouls and Ghosts, and she had the original Sonic. But she said the only problem was she got so addicted to the original Sonic the Hedgehog, she weren't going to bed till 2 or 3, 4 in the morning, and then she had to get up for work the next day. So she got majorly hooked on that. So
it opened up gaming to a lot of people. Just the sheer amazingness. That's not a word. Amazingness. Can't be writing a magazine if I can't spell certain words. But the amazingness drew people in who'd never touched the game before, and I think that's one really great thing about it. And anyone can pick up and play it. Even if not that good at it, you just hold right and jump, and it gives you a lot of pleasure in doing that. Great game, great series. Yeah,
That's right. That's right. So, next question, buddy.
mm-hmm.
It was touching on your retro collection of the day. How big was it, your collection at its peak? You said you had a complete collection already.
A complete collection of Dreamcast games.
Wow, that's pretty
So
impressive.
I can't recall what the number is of those, but that was a lot of blue cases.
Yeah.
That was a huge amount. That's the biggest collection I've ever had. And then my Mega Drive collection, probably about 100 games. And those two have really been the most dominant ones. Yeah, I haven't had anything else which I would say actually was a real collection. So yeah, it's got to be those two.
Wow. I mean, that was just the Dreamcast alone was pretty impressive, buddy. How long did it take you to get that?
Not all that long, because this was about 2004. So it was kind of the point where it had started. I already had the console, but around 2004 was when Sega pulled out, and the prices of the games went right down, and people were just giving them away. So it was quite easy to hoover them all up. I think it did in about a year.
Yeah.
I was at uni at the time, and obviously being a uni student, I didn't have a huge amount of money, so I didn't spend a great deal on that.
Okay.
And there's a lot of people who are watching now who are back into collecting again. Probably really jealous of those times. It was that simple, and now some of those titles you're going to be paying silly money for them. Such a shame.
I mean, as you say, I think lockdown is partly to do with this madness of the pricing, because I think what's happened, people have got a bit of time on their hands, and more importantly, they've had money because we weren't allowed out. They haven't been spending, so we're like, oh, I know, I'll go on eBay. Oh, I remember on it, and they've started collecting, and as you say, the prices are hiking up and up and up. So, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't really know myself. But again, as you say, you just look back and you think you had that complete collection, mate. That was
I'm pleased to say that at least I did it.
Yeah.
I'm really lucky that I had that opportunity to do that. Yeah.
And I think that's what gives you the credibility to do what you're doing now. Because as you said earlier, when I touched on how big's your retro game collection, you're like, well, I don't really collect anymore, and that's a strange thing considering what you're doing. But actually, it's not, because you've got the history, you've done the work, so to speak. So you can speak from a very strong background because you've done it.
Yeah, I mean, when we put the magazine plans together, believe it or not, it is planned, despite the fact it looks like chaos. A lot of the games, like Sam's a bit younger than us, and he's not played many of these games, and we've got a huge list of what we will and might cover.
Yeah.
I'm amazed. I can look, and I'm not boasting or anything, but I can look through the list, and I could give it, could give Sam at least one paragraph description of every single game in the list. Just because I've experienced them all, and
just off your head like that.
Yeah, and just because I don't collect anymore, it doesn't matter, because I've had that experience, and that's now what I'm putting back into the community in the form of writing and the magazine. Really, that's what this is all about: is giving something back, getting involved.
Brilliant stuff. Right. Okay, what we got here. This was from another YouTuber. His name is Retro Ed UK, and he asked the following: future of the magazine. First one is great. And what plans have you got for future editions?
So issue 2, because that's out in pre-order, you've probably seen the cover and wondering what that's all about. Well, that was the launch of the Gamegear in the UK, so that we're going heavy on Gamegear in the next issue. And then 1992 after that, well, we've got a certain Blue Hedgehog and a really big sequel, so that's going to be part of that. And then the issue after that, we've then got the Mega CD launch, and we're going to be doing something really special for that. But I'm not going to ruin the surprise.
No, don't.
And I can't really. Again, going back to the whole thing of just staying focused. I've always kind of got rough ideas in my head when I have a shower or I'm eating dinner or something. Something will pop into my head and it gets stored up here. So I don't have a solid roadmap for what's coming next.
Yeah.
But we're always going to try and do something a bit different. Always going to be a bit left field. There's always going to be one main theme of the mag. It won't just be the year. There'll be a particular thing that happened that year that will drive the main theme of the magazine. But there's also, it's a real shame. I've got some really cool stuff that I'd love to talk about, but if I did, it would totally ruin how cool I think they're going to be. So let's title it. But that to answer his question. Sorry, a bit more. I do have a tendency to go on and on, as you probably noticed. Is every issue is going to have a really core theme. We're going to stick to the year format. And then we're probably going to mix it up a little bit with things that you're not going to expect.
Cool, excellent. Right. Next one was from a guy who follows my channel. He's IXK, Alcan El Hackney, and he's asked, what was your view on the Mean Machines magazine back in the day?
Love it. I mean, I had Sega Pro, actually, sorry, Sega Power. I've actually got a copy here.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I use this almost as like a reference. But Mean Machines, I always loved it because one thing we've tried to do with Sega Mania is to be a little bit cheeky.
Yep.
Kind of, we're never going to offend anyone, but we'll always sort of I don't know what your swearing policy is, but I'll not swear, take the mick from out of people a little bit, just have a bit of fun with it. And Mean Machines, yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. And Mean Machines were great at that, and so a lot of the visual elements I've tried to sort of borrow from Sega Power, and you might see a few nods to that in some of the fonts we use and some of the layouts. But Mean Machines is where all the attitude comes from.
Yeah.
So their writing styles what influences us, and also I don't know if you've noticed when you read Mean Machines, they almost start every single review an article with a question. And if you look in our magazine, we do something very similar. So
yeah,
absolutely love Mean Machines and Sega Power are the two biggest influences on our magazine, and that's because we really like them. We have fun memories of them.
Cool, excellent, thank you. Next one was from a guy called Paul Gross, and he's asked, new content plans, ideas, monthly releases. Now, I think we've pretty much touched on most of that, but I think in terms of monthly releases, just a quote from yourself, Tim, obviously it is coming out every single month at the moment, yeah?
Sort of. That's what we would like to do, but I think if we're being realistic about it, it's probably going to be sort of a 5-6 week mark. That's just mainly because when we did the first issue, it took a month. But what's happening is with the admin and shipping work comes about. Remember, there's only 3 of us.
Yeah.
The shipping and admin work that comes off the back of issue 1 pushes my time a little bit further. So we're aiming for a monthly. But if it is a few weeks late, then we just ask people to forgive us, and we will let them know if it's going to sort of slip. That is the plan. Yeah. If you notice on the front of the magazine, actually, we didn't actually put a month on there, just the year, because we knew we couldn't 100% commit to that. It wouldn't be fair to promise people that when we might not be able to do it.
And I think you're right to do that, because let's be honest, you've been honest throughout the whole thing, so why change now, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's fair enough, because let's be honest, you didn't know what you were getting into.
No.
But you're learning quickly.
I am learning, yeah.
Okay, and I think the final question is this, and a lot of people have been asking this, about a subscription. Is it something you're considering, or is it something you won't consider at the moment until you give it a bit more time with see how production and stuff goes?
It's something I really want to do, but I don't think we can offer it just yet. And I'll go into detail a little bit. I'll not go on too long, because you know what I'm like. It just comes down to the fact that we do not make any money on this magazine. We are literally on a break even. And usually when you offer a subscription to people, they save some money on buy, if you go for Retro Gamer or even, I don't know, BBC Cooking Magazine, if you buy 6 issues in a row, you get a reduction. And we, at the moment, can't offer that. So I don't see what the financial benefit would be to doing that. And then also it comes into the fact that we're not a monthly. We're trying to be a monthly, but we're not a monthly. So if we say you're going to get 6 issues and there happens to be a 2-month gap in between one, that doesn't feel fair. So yeah, I think it's just too early. I definitely want to do it. But what I will say is that we're very active on our website, very active on social media. So you're never going to, as long as you follow us in one capacity, you're not going to miss out if an issue comes along. I know it can be a bit of a pain having to buy every single time, but you're not going to miss out. We'll always let you know when the next issue is coming, how you can get it, when you're going to get it, well, as best as we possibly can. So that's all we can do for now, and in the future we'll think about it, definitely.
Okay, I think that's fair enough, and I think throughout this discussion that has been evident. I mean, as you say, you're not promising the world. You're being very open and honest with everybody, and as you say, it's a learning curve, and you're learning fast.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think that concludes everything. Tim, I think you guys are doing a brilliant job. So you and your team, all credit to you. Okay, so folks, this is it. Sega Mania. Jump on board. Honestly, it's a great thing. Now, just one final question: international shipping. You touched on that earlier. What's the state of play with international? Because I know a few people have said, "Oh, I'm in the States. Can I order it?"
Yep. So United States, Brazil, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Japan can order it without any problems.
Wow.
European order to temporarily suspend, but we are looking at a solution to that, and that will probably be an eBay store. But I am working till like 1 a.m. every night at the moment trying to get that sorted. So I will let everyone know once we've got that sorted. And I really apologize because a lot of European people in a lot of people in Europe bought issue 1 and now they're eager to buy issue 2, which is fantastic, and they're finding they can't, and I feel really bad about that because who wants to just do the first issue and then not carry on? But we are aware of it, and we are working on it. We will come out with a fix, so please just bear with us and we'll get that sorted.
Yeah, but again, as you say, Tim, I mean, you got the point right there. It takes time. I mean, even that, little things like that, just people wouldn't even contemplate, you know. So, and again, time consuming, isn't it? You have to find workarounds and everything else, but you're doing it, which is a good thing. Okay.
I haven't seen my wife and daughter for like 2 months now. They're loving it, but you know, it's pretty crazy, but it's all good fun. And people like yourself and your viewers and everyone else's content, the support is just mind blowing. It's absolutely fantastic. You know, it really boosts us, and we're not going to give up and we're not going to stop. There'll be more issues coming.
Brilliant. Well, that's everything from me, Tim. So finally, to the viewers, Sega Mania. Get over there. There's links in the video and everything else to the website, and I'm sure Tim's explained everything. So if you wish to get involved, drop the guys an email, look up on their socials, do all that good stuff for them, and show them some support. I mean, if you can't afford the magazine, fine, but jump on board, show some support on the Facebook groups, all that sort of stuff. They really appreciate it because, I mean, it's genuine. The work these guys are putting in is mega hard. So I tip my hat to you guys because you're doing a brilliant job, you and your team. Okay, so that's my final message from me. Tim, anything you'd like to say to the viewers to conclude?
Just a huge thank you to each and every one of you. It couldn't happen without you, so thank you.
Cheers. So it's a goodbye from OGDuffy, and it's goodbye from
Tim.
Where? Cheers.
Cheers, bye.
If you watch the video and you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe for more great videos. Thanks for watching.